One morning, Miffy woke up and looked out of her window to find that her garden was completely covered with white snow. She wanted to run out and play in it. "First, you must put on some warm clothes, Miffy," said Mother Bunny. So Miffy put on her woolen coat and scarf and ran out into the snow. "I think I'll make a snowman," thought Miffy, and she started to roll a ball of snow. Just then, Boris and Barbara Bear skied into Miffy's garden. "Good morning, Miffy," said Barbara. "Boris and I were out skiing, and we thought you might like to come too." "Oh, that would be fun," said Miffy. "I got a pair of skis for Christmas, but I haven't tried them yet." "Don't worry," said Boris. "We will teach you how to ski." Miffy was so excited. She ran into the house and got her skis. Boris held her while she put them on. "You look like a proper skier already," said Barbara. "Let's start at the easy level, on the flat ground." "Oh, look!" shouted Miffy happily. "I'm really skiing." But then she fell. "Don't worry, Miffy," said Barbara. "We've been skiing a long time, but we still fall down sometimes." Miffy picked herself up and was soon skiing along nice and smoothly. "This is fun," said Miffy. "Let's ski up the hill to Auntie Alice's house. Then we can ski downhill on the way home." So they began skiing up the hill, but Miffy kept sliding backwards. Boris helped Miffy and showed her how to point the skis outward so that they could grip the snow. "I think I can do it," said Miffy. So she tried, and she found that it worked. It was hard work, and by the time they reached Auntie Alice's house, they were out of breath. Auntie Alice heard the swishing of snow and the huffing and puffing outside her house, and she came out to greet them. "Hello, mountain skiers," she said. "I think you all need a nice cup of hot chocolate." Boris, Barbara and Miffy took off their skis and went inside with Auntie Alice to enjoy some of her wonderful hot chocolate. "Thank you, Auntie Alice," said Miffy. "Now we are ready for the fun part, skiing down the hill." So they said goodbye to Auntie Alice and put their skis back on. "Be very careful skiing downhill," said Boris. "You have to learn how to slow down and not go too fast." But Miffy could hardly wait to start, and off she went, faster and faster down the hill. It was fun, but also a little scary. She forgot how to slow down, and when she came to a little hill, she flew right up into the air and landed in the snow. Boris and Barbara skied up to her. Miffy said, "This morning I wanted to make a snowman. Now I am a snowman myself." They all laughed. Miffy's father was very proud of the family car. He liked to clean it, and he loved to go driving in the clean car. "It's a dry, sunny day today," he said to Mother Bunny and Miffy, "so we can go for a drive, and my car won't get muddy." Miffy asked, "Where shall we go, Father?" "We could drive out into the countryside and stop by Auntie Alice's house. Perhaps she would like to come with us." "Oh, yes! It's fun when Auntie Alice comes," said Miffy, and off they went. At Auntie Alice's house, Miffy and Father Bunny went out of the car. They saw a note on the door. Father Bunny read it aloud. I'm off to visit Boris and Barbara Bear. Back later. Well, why don't we go to Boris and Barbara's house as well? Said Miffy. So they set off into the woods where Boris and Barbara lived. There were many fallen leaves on the way, and driving along made them twirl up and settle all over Father Bunny's clean car. Oh well, said Father Bunny as they drove along. It's only a few leaves, and they can be easily wiped off. Close to Boris and Barbara's house, they turned a corner, and before Father Bunny could see it, the car drove over a pile of thorny bushes. Sssss, went one of the car's tyres. Oh dear, said Mother Bunny. One of our tyres has been punctured. Who could have put those thorny bushes in the middle of the way? Said Father Bunny. We came upon them so suddenly, I had no time to stop. Just then Boris came running out to them, carrying a rake. Hello, he shouted. I heard the noise and wondered what happened. I'm so glad to see you're safe. I was clearing away all the dead thorn bushes and was just about to rake them out of the way, but I see that I'm too late. Oh well, said Father Bunny. We do have a spare tyre in the boot of our car, so it's not a problem. I will help you change the tyre. It was hard work and very dirty. And Father Bunny's suit had got all dirty. When the new tyre was on the car, Auntie Alice came by. Hello, said Auntie Alice. What are you doing here? We were coming to see you and Barbara, said Miffy. Oh dear, said Auntie Alice. I'm already on my way home. It's a long walk and it will be dark soon. We're late because we had a flat tyre, but now we've fixed it, so we will be happy to drive you home, said Father Bunny. Oh, thank you, said Auntie Alice. That is very kind. So off they went with the new tyre and Auntie Alice. It started to rain, and soon the ground became very muddy. By the time they dropped Auntie Alice off and arrived back home, their car was covered in mud. Miffy said to Father Bunny, Father, it was so good that you cleaned your car this morning. And everyone laughed. In the autumn, the leaves began to fall off the trees. One day, Mother Bunny looked out of the window and said, Miffy, would you like to help me clear up the leaves? We can't let them lie on the grass all through the winter. Oh, yes, Mother, said Miffy. Clearing the leaves will be fun. So Mother and Daughter Bunny each took a rake and began to rake up the leaves. Soon all the leaves had been cleared into a large pile. You have worked very hard, Miffy, said Mother Bunny. Come inside and I'll make you a nice cup of hot chocolate. While Miffy and her mother were inside the house, Snuffy came into the garden. She saw the big pile of leaves and thought it was there for her to have fun with. Soon the garden was once again full of leaves. Oh, Snuffy, said Miffy, running out. I know you are having fun, but we worked so hard to rake up all those leaves. But of course Snuffy didn't understand. She just wagged her tail and gave a couple of happy barks. Then Mother Bunny came out and said, Snuffy, if you sit quietly and wait while Miffy and I rake up all the leaves again, Then we will give you a nice bone." So Miffy and her mother once again raked up all the leaves into a big pile. It was even harder work the second time. "Now, Snuffy," said Miffy, "you were a good dog this time and didn't jump into our pile of leaves. So you deserve your tasty bone, and we deserve some lemonade." And they all went inside. Later that day, Miffy was surprised to see that the garden was once again covered with leaves. "Oh dear," she thought, "now I will have to rake those leaves for the third time." But then she saw that the pile of leaves in the corner of the garden was still there. "Where did those leaves come from?" she asked her mother. "Those are not the same leaves we raked up today," said Mother Bunny. "There were still many leaves left on the branches, and now the last of them have fallen. When we rake them up this time, the job will be finished." But Miffy was too tired to do any more raking that day. She went to bed and dreamt all night about millions of leaves blowing in the wind. When she awoke the next morning, she was surprised to find that the garden was completely free of leaves. They had all disappeared. "Mother!" shouted Miffy with great excitement. "The leaves are all gone! What happened to them?" "There was a strong wind during the night," said her mother. "Didn't you hear it?" "I dreamt about the wind," said Miffy, "but I didn't think the dream was real." "It was real," said her mother, "and this time the wind helped us. It blew all the leaves away. And now that all the leaves have fallen off, we won't have to rake them again this year." Miffy was very, very pleased. Miffy took a bite of a big biscuit. It made a nice crunchy sound. Just then, she heard a scratching sound at the door. When she opened it, there was Snuffy. Said Snuffy, barking happily and wagging her tail. "You must have heard my biscuits crunching," said Miffy. "I suppose you would like a biscuit too." She gave Snuffy one of her biscuits. Snuffy gobbled it up, but then she suddenly stopped and pricked up her ears. "What can you hear now?" asked Miffy. Snuffy ran back to the door and began to scratch it. When Miffy opened the door, she saw her father driving home in the car. "You could hear Father's car from far away, Snuffy," said Miffy. "You have very good hearing." After lunch, Snuffy became very excited again. She wanted to go outside. Miffy asked her mother if she could join Snuffy. "But don't be too late," said Miffy's mother. So Miffy followed Snuffy. She wanted to know what else Snuffy could hear. Suddenly, Snuffy stopped and pricked up her ears. "What can you hear now?" asked Miffy. Snuffy barked as if she was saying, "Listen." Miffy listened carefully and heard a bird cheeping, but she couldn't see it. "Can you see the bird, Snuffy?" asked Miffy. There it was. A lovely bird flew into the sky. Once again, Snuffy's ears popped up. She was always listening for strange sounds. This must have been a really strange sound, because Snuffy became very excited. But Miffy couldn't hear a thing. Snuffy began to run to the forest. "Perhaps she can hear a frog," wondered Miffy, "or a duck on a pond." Snuffy ran further and further, stopping to listen and then running on again each time. It must be something very strange, thought Miffy. She had to run very fast to keep up with Snuffy. Snuffy became more and more excited. What in the world could she be hearing? Thought Miffy. She still couldn't hear a thing. It was so quiet in the middle of the woods, but Snuffy ran on and on. At last, Miffy began to hear a strange sound. It must be Boris Bear sawing some wood, she thought, but it wasn't the sound of sawing wood. It was much louder than that. Suddenly they came to an open space in the woods, and they saw where the noise was coming from. It was Boris. He was leaning against a tree, fast asleep and snoring. Snuffy began to bark, and Boris woke up. "Oh dear," said Boris. "Hello, Snuffy. Hello, Miffy. I was working all morning in the woods, and I must have fallen asleep." Miffy thought that was very funny. "Well, Snuffy could hear you all the way from our house," said Miffy. "Either your snoring is very loud, or Snuffy's hearing is very, very good." One morning, Miffy hurried to school, and Snuffy ran along with her, because she could smell the delicious sausage that was in Miffy's lunchbox. Miffy was in a hurry, because today was art class, and she wanted to make a present for Mother's Day. In the classroom, there were all kinds of coloured paper and cloth, and Miffy decided to make a pretty box for her mother's necklace. She worked very hard the whole day, cutting pieces of strong blue card. And gluing and folding the pieces together to make a beautiful box. Then she took a bright red paper and cut out a heart shape and pasted it on the lid of the box. On the way home, Miffy stopped and put the blue box inside her lunchbox so her mother wouldn't see it. She wanted it to be a surprise. "I will hide the present underneath my bed," she thought, "and draw some clues for my mother on many pieces of paper." When Miffy took the blue box out of her lunchbox, she noticed that it smelt a bit like the sausage that she had eaten for her lunch. Snuffy smelt it too and came to see what Miffy was doing. "Shh," Miffy whispered. "This is a secret present for my mother." Miffy then took her drawing pad and drew a picture on each sheet. First, she drew a picture of a bowl and put the picture on her mother's favourite chair. Then she drew a picture of her toy box and placed that picture in the bowl. And finally, she drew a picture of her bed and put that picture in the toy box. "Now Mother will have clues to help her find her present," said Miffy. "It will be great fun." The next morning, Miffy said, "Today it is Mother's Day. It's your special day, Mother. Wouldn't you like to sit in your favourite chair?" When Mother saw the picture of the bowl on her chair, she laughed. "I know," she said. "This is a clue, and I must look in the bowl." When she went to the bowl, she saw the picture of the toy box. And when she went to the toy box, she saw a picture of Miffy's bed. So then she looked under Miffy's bed, and Miffy smiled, thinking of how happy her mother would be when she saw the pretty blue box. But there was nothing under Miffy's bed, not even a drawing. "Where should I look now?" asked Miffy's mother. Just then Snuffy came in, wagging her tail and barking happily. "What have you done with the present, Snuffy?" asked Miffy. And Snuffy ran to her doghouse in the garden. Mother looked inside the doghouse, and there was the box. "What a lovely present!" cried Miffy's mother happily. "How clever you were to make it, Miffy! And how clever you were to hide it in Snuffy's doghouse! I would never have thought to look there." Miffy laughed. It had turned out to be a very special Mother's Day.
Miffy, 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 run! With her friends she's having fun. Snuffy, Grunty, Boris Bear, Poppy